All right, time to bring in our panel now. Jennifer Wagner, Mike Murphy, Robin Winston, and Tony Samuel. Let's start with Jennifer Wagner, former communications director for the Indiana Democrats. We heard from Mike Braun earlier, who said he thought this whole trial was unconstitutional. Andre Carson, who said Republicans were ignoring a mountain of evidence. What were your biggest takeaways from this past week, regardless of the ultimate outcome?
I think the ultimate outcome is one that we've known probably from the outset of this process, but that doesn't make the process any less important. For me, seeing the video footage again, hearing all of the threats that were presented imminently to members of both parties, and knowing that President Trump caused that to happen, regardless of the outcome, that's an important conversation, I think, to have both politically in terms of where the two parties are going, but also in reality, there's still a lot of things that are not sewn up from this. I was reading a story last week about the two additional police officers who committed suicide following the insurrection. And I think, for those families, the families of those who were injured, this is an important process, and it symbolizes hopefully some healing can come out of this.
All right. Tony Samuel was 2016 vice chair for the Indiana Trump campaign. Tony, what's your response to that and to everything we've seen this past week?
Sure. There is a mountain of evidence against the people that broke into the Capitol and caused destruction and death and injuries to the Capitol Police. There is a mountain of evidence from the videos that we've all seen now, but it's against them. They had no business doing that. I've condemned it. We've all condemned it. But President Trump did not call for that. He called for folks that were at the rally to peacefully march and patriotically and peacefully make their voices heard outside the Capitol. Never instructed any kind of physical activity, no fighting, nothing like that. His whole thing through the whole 4 years of his presidency has been to back law enforcement. He said those words again at that rally and tweeting them while this was going on. People, those rioters, they assembled at the Capitol almost an hour before he even started speaking. There were pipe bombs that were put in place at the RNC and DNC headquarters the night before, 7:30 the evening, the night before. He didn't call for any kind of rioting. He called for a peaceful demonstration, a peaceful protest, which happens in DC all the time, to make their voices heard to the people, to the members of Congress. And so that's why this is another sham procedure by the Democrats, and it won't resonate with the average American voter.
You mentioned the word fight. We certainly heard the word fight in this trial quite a lot in different videos, in different contexts. Let's bring in former state party chair for the Indiana Democrats, Robin Winston. Robin, given the outcome everyone has expected, what purpose did this trial serve in your view?
To uphold our Constitution, that a president should not incite a riot, that we should not have people going to the hall of Congress while we're trying to, remember, this is when we're trying to count the electoral votes and make sure they're ratified. We shouldn't disrupt that process. It's fitting that we're talking about Abraham Lincoln's birthday this week. Look what he inherited, but look how he said with malice towards none, that how he put a nation at peace, how he moved the nation forward, and he lost his life doing it. But the fact of the matter is, I always, when I hear these folks on the Senate floor and House floor talking about it was a peaceful protest, I don't think any of them stayed on the floor to find out if it was a peaceful protest. They bolted out of there also. And then about the president, this guy has the ultimate red phone. He knew what was going on. They could have deployed the DC National Guard. They could have deployed people to protect that building and protect the people inside.
Yeah.
So what does it mean? It means that we have to uphold the Constitution.
All right, finally, we go to former GOP lawmaker Mike Murphy. Mike, we also heard a lot about former VP Mike Pence this week and the threat that he faced in the Capitol that day.
Absolutely. A vote to acquit the former president was really a vote to condone what looked like was going to become an execution of our own vice president from the state of Indiana. So a vote to acquit was a vote to put Mike Pence's life and his family's life in such danger that he could have been imminently executed. Ultimately, as Peggy Noonan said, this was about whether we should have a republic that stands upon the rule of law, or whether any president, set aside Trump, any president in the future, has the right to incite an insurrection and essentially be an accessory to murder in the last 3 weeks of office without any accountability.
And obviously a split somewhat there within the party about how to handle all this moving forward. Let's talk right now about the latest news from the Indiana State House. Changing gears here. Teachers calling for a place in line as the state tries to ramp up vaccinations. You also have a lot of back and forth this week about the General Assembly trying to take back some control from local governments and perhaps from the governor himself, Jennifer.
It's one of my favorite annual State House activities, and since we've been dominated by Republicans for a long, long time, they get the blame for this. Like, oh yeah, no, we trust locals. We trust y'all to do what's right by the people because you're closest to the people. And then, like, a little bit of time goes by, they're like, hang on, you're not doing it right. We need to come in here and tell you what to do. It's very patriarchal. This is not uncommon. We see this every session. It does seem to be a bit worse this session with folks at the State House coming in and particularly targeting Indianapolis. And obviously we're a Democratic-led city. So that's a little frustrating to watch. As far as teachers go, gosh, I really do hope they prioritize them in the vaccine line. We got COVID from our kids' school, and my son's teacher right now has been out for 3 weeks with it, and they really do need to be protected.
I'm wishing them the best for sure. Mike, you served in the General Assembly. We've seen bills like this in the past. Are lawmakers taking it even further now?
Well, they are. It's the nature of having a supermajority, frankly, where the speaker and the president pro tem, you can't control 70 people. It's always better to have a majority of maybe 54 or 55, where everybody knows they have to stay on the same team. But this debate over essentially what is the home rule debate has been going on since 1816, and maybe before during the territorial government. I don't know.
That's before your time in the legislature, I believe.
Pardon me?
That's before your time in the legislature, I believe.
Yeah,
yes,
just about 6 months before I joined. But I would call on the business executives and their powerful lobbyists and frankly wallets to join with AIM, who is the group whose mission is to advocate for mayors and have relationships all over the state. I would call on those two groups to come together, form an alliance, and shut down some of this anti-home rule legislation. Set aside Indianapolis, it endangers every city in town.
Robin, what does the city of Indianapolis do in response to all of this in a year where the mayor has faced a lot of criticism from local Republicans on issues like crime and other topics in the news?
Well, the first thing you do, the only city in the country is Kansas City that has state oversight. And that was because of widespread corruption almost at the turn of the century, 1900s. You don't let somebody living in Walcott make a decision about what's going to go on with your police department. The mayor is doing the right things. He's building community base, and we got to keep doing it. It is not just an issue of what do you do about patrols. Look at the processing center now. Look what we're trying to do to deal with mental health issues. We're doing the right things. It's amazing. I always thought the party of Reagan was the party of smaller government, not the party of oversight by big government.
Okay, we got to leave it there. We'll be back with our panel for winners and losers. Coming up next, though, this Sunday in Focus, big news for the city of Indianapolis when it comes to the Big Ten. Stick around. We'll be right back.